Hey guys, welcome back to another movie review for the Robert Zemeckis Collaboration. Today I'll be reviewing one of my favourite Robert Zemeckis films, also one of my favourite Tom Hanks films, and that's the epic drama film Cast Away from 2000. So Cast Away came out in 2000, the same year that Zemeckis did What Lies Beneath, but I believe that What Lies Beneath was filmed about halfway through Cast Away when Tom Hanks has to lose a lot of weight in the film. I think while Tom Hanks was losing the weight, he went and filmed What Lies Beneath, so that's a pretty interesting fact. So Cast Away has been one of my favourite films for a long time. Tom Hanks is one of my favourite actors. I've never really seen him give a bad performance. He's always a really likeable character and a very down-to-earth, real, relatable sort of character. In Cast Away, Tom Hanks plays a character called Chuck Nolan, and he works for FedEx, the postal company, and he's all about being on time. Everything is run by the clock. He's got to be everywhere on time and nothing can be late, so he's just really kind of ruled by the clock. And I think it's during a business flight. He's on a plane to somewhere. He has a crash. The plane crashes in rough seas at night time. He's the only survivor. He ends up in a life raft and he wakes up the next morning on this deserted island. So the majority of this film, the film goes for about 2.5 hours, and the majority of the film takes place on this island, and Tom Hanks is literally the only character in this movie at that point, and so that's about 80 to 90% of the film. It's just Tom Hanks. However, the love interest in the film is played by Helen Hunt, and she's really good in the film. She's in a few scenes at the beginning and a few scenes at the end of the film, but as I said, for the majority of the film it's pretty much all Tom Hanks and his performance. So some people might find this film a bit boring and a bit long, but I thought it was really interesting just watching. I think while he's on the island, it's set about, he's there for about 4 years I think, so I thought it was quite interesting watching time go by on this movie, because you really felt the time go by as you saw his appearance change and how he learned to survive on this island. He kept his sanity by talking to a volleyball that he named Wilson. And this is just one of those movies that will prove to you how good an actor Tom Hanks is. He doesn't need other actors around him to help him, because he just did a fantastic job working by himself on this movie. I also really love the soundtrack in this film. There's not much music, but the main theme of the film was once again composed by Alan Silvestri, and I love his music, so I thought his soundtrack of the film, while it wasn't very big, I thought it was really good. It's one of those movies that's kind of just like peaceful and you can chill out watching, because not a whole lot happens on the island. Like, a few major things happen, but it's just like this really nice looking tropical island, and he's just trying to find a way off of it in the end, because he's there for about 4 years, so he has to get back home to this girl that he's in love with, and he was actually planning on proposing to her at the beginning of the film, but then he ended up on this island, so it's been all these years later, so he wants to just get back to her and see how things are going to end up. I don't think I'm really spoiling anything by saying this, but after he's been on the island for about 4 years, he finally does escape. He gets on a life raft and then a boat picks him up and he gets back home, but it's been a really long time, so he's really inadequate with a lot of the things that he was used to. His personality's changed a lot, and unfortunately there's a pretty sad situation that has occurred in those 4 years involving his love interest in the film, Helen Hunt, but it makes for some really great dramatic scenes throughout the film. So Cast Away, in my mind, is one of those really original films. It's got a great story. It's not like anything you're really going to see out there. It's really kind of a standalone. So I highly recommend Cast Away if you haven't seen it. It's a fantastic movie. I really enjoy watching it. I could watch it multiple times. Definitely one of Tom Hanks' best performances. Great soundtrack, great use of scenery and setting. So I feel like Cast Away is definitely a film that any film buff or film fan should just check out, because it's just one of the classics that you've got to see. And there's one scene towards the end of this movie involving Tom Hanks and the volleyball Wilson, which he somehow develops a friendship with, that's quite emotionally upsetting, and he makes you feel like crying for a volleyball. So it's he's a really good actor when someone can make that happen. So that's pretty much all I've got to say about Cast Away. It's a great film. I highly recommend it. Thanks for watching this review in the Rob Zemeckis series. I'll be doing the next few reviews still. I'll be doing The Polar Express, I think, is the next one, another Tom Hanks film. So that'll probably be up in about another week or so. So thanks for watching this video. It'd be great if you could subscribe to our channels, and see you in the next video. Bye.